Welcome to another episode of Dad Bods and Bad Attitudes. And today we're kind of switching up a little bit. I usually have my trusted sidekick with me, Chris. Actually, there you go. Chris, he's usually with me, but today Chris is only with us in spirit. He is sick or something. So supposedly he can't, he's not well enough to do the episode. So we're going to do it solo today, but not just myself. We have a couple guests on today. Starting off, we have Nicole Quinones.
Very good. You did it. You said it right. Yes.
Thank you.
Good job.
Yes, I was practicing her last name just to make sure that I nailed it. So, and I wrote it out on my paper right here phonetically. So I wrote it out Kenyons.
There you go.
There we go. So it worked. But then we're also going to should have Matthew Montavon on as well. Yes, he's going to be on as well. He just texted and said, just go ahead and get started. But Matthew Montavon is running for Congress in Florida's 17th district, which is just a little bit south of my district, where I'm running for in Florida's 16th district. So, but anyway, Nicole, welcome to Dad Bods and Bad Attitudes. It's lovely to have you on.
It is a pleasure to be here. Thank you. That's a great name. That's hilarious.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, we've had I would love to say like you're our first woman guest, but you're not. We've had quite a few women on lately, and and they appreciate the dad bods that we have. So so looking forward to talking to you, and I think I brought you on specifically. You are a realtor, and I wanted to bring you on specifically to talk about this huge debate that is going on in Florida. And obviously, there's this huge bill that DeSantis is trying to pass to extend your homestead exemptions, and potentially lower your property tax bill.
Right. Ultimately, they want to eliminate them altogether, right? So I did have to do a little more research to see how the bill came back out after DeSantis had put it forward, right? So it came back out with some changes, which it's my understanding he's not fully standing behind it anymore. Not the way he was. He's not like ready to steamroll it through. And from the outside, right, like this may look like a great thing, right? So right now in the state of Florida, with your homestead property, right, you file a homestead. This is the home that you live in primarily more than 6 months a year, right? If you're a snowbird, you better be here 181 days because, to file a homestead exemption, you need to be here more than 6 months. So what they wanted to do is increase the exemption that you get on the purchase price on the value of the home, right? So right now it's a $50,000 homestead exemption that gets applied when you purchase a home in the state of Florida. You take over the current seller's taxes. That's how that works here. They get reassessed based on the purchase price that you paid and your current situation, right? So Save Our Homes Act in Florida is for, folks that it's their primary residence. They're living there. But for folks that have rental properties, right, it wouldn't be fair if they're paying the same amount of taxes as somebody that lives in the home. So what their plan was that they were trying to, I don't know what his original plan was. I know part of it that's not attached anymore. But it was going to go from right now it's 50,000. So they want it to be year one. So next year it would be 150,000. And then the following year, 250,000. And it's my understanding that this would potentially help 60% of Floridians here that, would not have property taxes. Right. But the other part that was rolled in there, definitely in the fine print, it's not there anymore, supposedly. But listen, we know that can get stuck in there, right back in there very easily. So there was a transfer fee for selling your house, right? So normally folks are in a house for 7 to 8 years,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you're not going to be in your home for that long and you have to pay this transfer fee, which is supposedly not there anymore, was 5%,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
So it looks sparkly and pretty and shiny, but is it?
So I was actually asked this question on TV yesterday. We were on TV
Mhm.
and they were talking about the homestead, property tax and all that stuff. And
Right.
it was kind of like a lightning round, and they just went through and they asked all the candidates, would you vote yes or no? And I said no. And but to be honest, like I'm still kind of undecided. But if I had to vote right now, I would say no. But like the people do need they need help financially, so like
Correct.
where so where the property tax going away, I mean, all that stuff sounds good in theory, but I think we need to make sure that we do it right, right? And what are
Yeah.
you seeing out there as far as the conversation goes, and why are people for it and why are people against it?
Well, I haven't really been deep in the conversation yet, but I do hear different realtors saying they're for it, and then other realtors saying they're not for it. But again, that 5% got pulled out, right? So we're talking, let's say somebody purchased a home and, you know, we actually had a scenario in 2022, we helped this family that has since moved back, right? They had to sell their home. They sold at a loss. They moved here from Jordan. They're a military family, and he's in the military. And he moved here from Jordan with his wife, got into the house. Anyway, they went back to Jordan about 9 months ago. And they were in a tremendous loss because of all the new builds in the area, right? So he didn't overpay for the house. The house when we bought it was on the market for like, I don't know, 120 days or so. It was on the market for a long time, but he was at a loss. Now, if that was in place, I mean, he had to tap into his money to bring 40K or so to the table to sell his house and move back to Jordan. He had no choice. And did he get support or help from those who, I don't think that was his family's plan. Anyway, the 5% is a big deal because 5% on $500,000 is $25,000, right? So if you're having somebody that, it could chew into the equity in their home when they're trying to leave,
Yeah.
right? Because there's still closing costs and things like that. And the other part, and it's funny because, so I'm in District 13. I'm not in your district or Matt's district. I'm in Pinellas County. And Dunedin, it's a great, cute little fun town. And a couple weeks ago, they announced some things. The mayor was sharing at the town hall with, with the folks that if they go ahead, if this was to pass, here is the impact.
Hmm.
Okay. Like these cuts will be a tremendously big deal,
Yeah.
right? Like we're talking about firefighters, the fire station. Oh, guess what? You could pay a fire tax. Like, oh,
Yep.
cool story. Like it's not called property taxes, right? And then we're known for our beaches and our parks and our tourism. And then the
But
programs.
same time, like, I keep like going back and forth, and I think I can see why realtors would be specifically interested in this because it probably
Mhm.
helps them sell homes, right? I mean, it brings the monthly price down if the property tax goes down.
It does. However, you know, it, Florida is tourism,
Hmm.
right? Like that is what this state makes its money on. And if our resources are going to be lacking in our state parks, our beaches, like those things are going to take a direct hit for sure, you know?
But the problem is like so there's just too much apathy out there, and maybe specifically in Florida, maybe it's because just too many new people have moved into Florida and they don't care about the natural resources and the beauty of it. But like that's not cutting through. That message isn't cutting through to people. Like don't vote for this because you're going to lose
Right.
out on your fire services, or you're going to lose out on your local funding, and you're going to have to beg Tallahassee. Like that's not cutting through to
No,
Republicans, right?
listen.
So,
Ah,
but
you
but like but I can see why on a very like shallow level why it makes a lot of sense, right? Because
right.
realtors probably are a little bit happier because they might be able to sell up a couple more houses because of it. And then the people that are suffering are happy, because they need some immediate relief, and this provides them immediate relief. But I think we as a citizen need to make sure that we're doing the right thing for our state and our country, and making good decisions, because my big concern that I have with it is that I don't trust Ron DeSantis. I don't trust Tallahassee to make decisions for Manatee, right?
right.
Because Manatee is bringing in our own revenue through property taxes, and if they're going to take that revenue away, they're going to bring a centralized revenue. They're still going to have to get that revenue somehow. Either
Right.
they're tax you or they're going to raise taxes. They're going to bring that revenue to them, and then they're going to be have to disperse the funds, right? I mean, it just kind of it scares the hell out of me if Manatee County is going to have to beg Tallahassee for money to pay our school teachers.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's even I'm not even gonna dive into it, but even the Pinellas Recover program here in Pinellas, there's funds that have been allocated to help victims of the storm a couple of years ago. We had like 3 storms back to back to back, and people's lives got ruined and wrecked, and it was a I fell down the rabbit hole a couple days ago because one of our
Mm.
clients is dealing with something, and I did find a video from 10 months ago with the Pinellas commissioner pushing it through. And now I'm like, okay, wait a minute. What are you guys doing with that money? What's happening here?
And they still haven't released the funds, you said, or
No, I mean, funds are being, released. It's just more so the lack of manpower for the company that has the contract to
Hmm,
do the work, the third party. Yeah. So,
gotcha. What are you seeing out there as far as I mean, I can see home values are starting to go down. Are you seeing sales tick up because the home values are going down?
um, so here's the thing, right? With the property taxes, there's more to a mortgage payment in the conversation, right? Our interest rates are higher. Our insurance companies packed up and left Florida 2 years ago, came
Mm,
back, so now there's some more options, but folks are in critical situations. And we see that so much. Like, I mean, you can't have insurance bound with an old roof,
mhm,
right? They're going to drop you. Like, and then you just have to pay whatever they want you to pay. So that's part of the problem. And then years ago, there was, just some fraud with roofing companies, and oh, you can make a claim from 3 years ago. Look, you're missing a shingle. Like, it must have been that hurricane. Like, what are we doing? All these people are fucked. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's people that if you have to put a $12,000, $14,000 roof on your house, and you are trying to figure out if you're getting groceries or paying your medical bills, or, your kid wants to go on a class trip, or just these things are crippling
yeah.
people,
I mean,
right?
you're saying regardless of the price, the house is pricing going down, you're not really seeing an uptick in sales, right?
Um,
They're struggling out there.
no, I mean, there's more inventory. Homes are sitting on the market longer. Buyers have their options. You know what I mean? Like the the pandemic, it moved a lot of people here, right? I mean, my husband and I, we moved down 21 years ago from New York. So we've been here for some time. And the foreclosure rates right now from this time last year is up 21%.
Wow.
People are having to make real hard decisions. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And for sellers, we're seeing more desperation, unfortunately, with sellers, and I mean, if the everything is good to go, they'll get an offer, they'll go under contract, but it's just, there's a lot of things I think that are crippling people, but, um,
Yeah. So
you know,
I mean,
that,
it's tough out there, I
yeah.
mean, with the affordability issue and everything. I don't know what the answer is necessarily,
Mhm.
as far as housing specifically goes, because I don't necessarily think that we want to overdevelop like we are and drive down the housing prices, right? Because I mean, a lot of our wealth of people that own homes are tied up in their home value, right? So
Right.
do we want to see this wealth just kind of disappear because we're overdeveloping, or do we actually want to have like a strategy and a plan in place that allows us to maintain our equity in our homes while still enticing new home buyers to buy new homes? How do we balance that, or what do you think? Do you think this I my house value has personally gone down
Mhm.
over $100,000 in the past
Mhm.
couple, so it's not just me. I know everybody's probably got this on their mind. So what
Right.
do you think about that,
Yeah,
Nicole?
so there's not, at least in Pinellas County, there's not tremendous amount of space here for more homes to be built, fortunately, right?
Mhm.
Um, so we're not in competition with new builds where, a new build lender can give great incentives, and those folks that are trying to sell their house, they can't compete with that, depending upon, when they bought the home. So I think that homeowners insurance, if, that was able to come down, that would be helpful. But I don't think that the property tax, I don't think that's, I don't know. I think there's too much riding on it for that to, for if more than 60% of people vote yes, then they'll roll forward with it.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah. I
I
mean,
don't.
it sounds like it's going to go. Well, it sounds like it's got the popular vote, in my opinion,
Mhm.
um, from Republicans anyway, because Republicans don't think from A to Z. Republicans just think now, 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 and that leads to chaos and struggle down the road. And we're kind of living through some of that struggle right now of Republicans just doing shoot from the hip policies, and I feel like this property tax thing is just another policy that Republicans are pretending is a good idea, but they don't have any statistics or facts or anything behind it to show where this money is going to come from to support, you know,
Yeah.
our social programs. So, hey, Matt.
Sorry, I went from device to device to try to get lined up, but
Oh, no worries. No
sorry
worries.
about that.
Yeah, we went ahead and got started. I'm glad you could make it back on. Again, everybody, this is Matthew Montavon. He's running for Congress as a Democrat in District 17, right? In
17.
Sarasota. Yep. Yep. So, Matt, why don't you just quickly introduce yourself, and then we'll get you into the conversation here.
Okay, Matthew Montavon. I'm got a background in government. I've been in public service most of my life. I was in the Peace Corps. I worked for local governments for a number of years and worked with the United Nations. Try to be involved as much as possible in the community. I've over the years worked with Habitat for Humanity, a number of food pantries, and recently I work with the AARP doing tax servicing for people, and I helped start the Immigration Justice Coalition here in Sarasota to try to help out the uh, undocumented immigrants as much as possible, trying to educate people about the situation and also alert the people about their rights in terms of defending themselves and helping out where we can in terms of advice or contact advice and advocacy as much as we can.
Awesome.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. We we've had you on before, Matthew, and I usually only bring on people onto the show that for candidate wise of who I support or I would suggest to vote for. So bringing you back on, Matthew, I'm really looking at your guys' campaign. You're just south of me, and I think we share a lot of similar community there. So I would I want to win and I want to work, with somebody that I get along with. And I really like Matthew's campaign. I really like his agenda. I really like what he has to say. So if you want to, make sure you check out Matthew's website and check out everything that he's running for. But anyway, what we were just talking about, Matthew, was the property tax. We were just jumping right into it. Like I was saying, Nicole is a realtor.
If I could say really quick,
Go ahead.
only because Matthew joined. Hi, Matthew. I don't live in your district.
Okay.
All right.
Sure.
I'd search you out more and do my homework. But I'm in District 13 in Pinellas County.
Okay.
And I'm a full-time realtor with my husband. And we were just chatting about the homestead exemption and the fine print that has been removed, but it could be snuck back in there at some point. So,
Right.
okay, carry on.
Well, I was on. We were on TV yesterday, Matthew. I don't know if you saw some of the clips, but we were on Tampa Bay News 9 Spectrum or whatever, and that was one of the big questions was, the property tax. And so anyway, they had a lightning round and they said, if you had to vote today, what would you vote, yes or no, for the property tax? And everybody had to answer. And I voted no. I have my reasons, but to be honest, I was kind of on the fence because I know people need relief, right? People need relief. So Matthew, what's your opinion on this, and why is it a good idea or isn't it a good idea, even though people need relief now?
Well, I've worked for local governments, and I see the importance of property taxes. It's been the standard way to fund a government, and it's fairly progressive because the rich people are paying more because they got higher priced homes and than the people at the lower end of the economic scale. So it's fairly progressive tax policy. Now they could have increased the exemption somewhat in order to give the people at the lower end of the scale a break. It's the exemption is generally, I think it's 50,000. They could have increased it to 75 or 100,000, and that would have helped a lot of people at the lower end of the economic scale. But when you when you want to take out 150, have the exemption at 150 or 250,000, you're really hurting local governments. And I think that I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't make any sense to me why they would want to do that. I think there's kind of two nefarious reasons behind it. One may be that the state wants to control everything at the local level. So the money comes through the state, and they could tell the local government what to do. You can't have no more art, or we don't like this program or that program, taking care of parks or whatever. They may just be strict on who they give money to, and depending on their political bent, so they'll maybe give it to the current legislature would give it to the right-leaning governments, and for the liberal governments in the cities, they'd take the money away unless you did certain things that they wanted you to do. Join ICE and trap immigrants. There's a second reason, and it slipped my mind. But the second reason is, I think reason maybe is just to drive people to the polls. Maybe the conservative people, there's a way of getting them to the polls in the hopes that maybe they will rescue this election. I think they're really fearful. I was reading another poll today about how unpopular Trump is, and all these MAGA followers and the sycophants like Stubbe, they're following Trump off the cliff. And
Yeah.
it's a way maybe to try to get people to the polls and maybe rescue the election. That's so I think for those two kind of nefarious reasons that maybe they don't even expect it to pass, but that and if it passes, it'll be a big really difficult. But it's a way to drive people to the polls.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think I probably agree with your second point, probably more than your first point. I don't think that Republicans are even smart enough to come up with a strategy, to have localized funds so that they can control the rest of the state. But I think that that is what would happen, and the weird thing is that if this does pass, and I was talking to Nicole about it, people are just looking at the very surface level. They're looking at the low hanging fruit that, yes, I may not have to pay as much in property tax. And like you said, it's going to get people to the polls to vote. But like you said, Matt, you're destroying your own community potentially. And Republican or Democrat, the Republicans aren't very popular right now. So let's say a Democrat wins governor of Florida, which is very possible. Hey,
oh my God.
Republic.
If they don't, we're in more trouble than we've been.
If Democrats win the governor, then all of a sudden the Republicans are looking at Tallahassee and begging a Democrat for money for their local community. So I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, if you're a Republican or a Democrat, it's never a good idea to consolidate money like that and have to beg, any type of localized group to fix issues in your community. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Unless they're trying to tie Jolly's hands or whoever wins, tie the next Democratic governor's hands, make it more difficult for them to.
Matt, I shared with Mark that it was in the original written bill from DeSantis that there would be a 5% like a transfer tax. Like you'd have to pay 5% to the government when you sell your house. That's no longer in there, supposedly. I mean, it could be stuck back in there if, it went through, but that's problematic.
It's just an example of, that people don't really understand the bill, and, it's just going to cause chaos down the road. And I think it's important now to take good steps politically and strategically. And, if we want to seriously look at lowering property taxes or getting rid of property taxes for a certain group, you need to show where that money is coming from, right? We need to see the schematics behind it, because I don't trust it, and nobody on this call trusts it. So, but anyway,
I think that you see so much of that across the government, and the Republican governments, they'll do shit just because it's politically, they got it in their political minds at that moment, and nothing's working. You find every working government, it's just like nothing's working. Not any department in the federal service is doing the right thing. They're cutting back, and they don't have enough people, and we got Ebola, and we don't have enough people in the CDC to be ready or there to help out. We've got these bacteria in our lettuce, and there's not enough people around to trace it and conquer it.
No, you know what it is? It's because we've been drinking from a fire hose for the last year and a half, like getting blasted every day. Right. And that's how it's designed to be, unfortunately, right now, which is...
And none of it's real, right? And that's the weird thing. It's like, none of this is backed by Congress. None of this is a real signed off deal. It's all fake, and it's all headlines, like you were saying. And it's just Republicans saying, yeah, they promise the world, but then they have no strategy behind it and no reality behind it that props it up. So speaking of that specific issue, another hot topic in Florida is data centers. I think that's another huge example of what Republicans and the Donald Trump administration has tried to shove down our throats that the public is outright refusing. Right?
Yeah, I know that there was a proposal supposedly in Largo in Pinellas County, or actually, I'm sorry, I take that back. Pinellas Park. There was a proposal, but I think people showed up and, it's in the very early stages of conversation, but the people showing up are shutting the thought down. Like I'm seeing it, and it's nationwide. Like one of my friends lives in Virginia and she had messaged me that I don't know if she said 25 in her county. Like, oh my God, that's bananas.
And Sarasota, I'm pretty sure Sarasota just passed something that said they're not going to allow any data centers.
Right, they got a moratorium in place, and they were pushing one in DeSoto County, and some of my campaign staff went there to speak and help people protest it. But everybody there, almost everybody, was against it. And DeSoto did. They already have one data center there, but they were going to like super expand it, and they were able to get the county to say, no, this is not a good idea right now. Those things are consume so much water, will require so much electricity, and if FPL doesn't have the way to provide it, they'll start burning fuel. So you're screwing up.
Have you heard the hum? Have you heard what it sounds like?
I saw some videos.
Yeah, I saw some videos too, and that would probably drive me insane. I did hear Trump say today that communities are dying for them. They're loving them. They want them.
Like, oh yeah.
Okay.
No,
they do. Sure.
He basically challenged like his Republicans to shove them down your throat. He said, if your communities are resisting this, you need to explain to them that they want this, that they need this, So I so hope Republicans are seeing what's happening here, right? Because the Trump administration went all in on this AI, and they have all this investment supposedly of all these AIs. If you look at the stock market, it is propped up right now by 7 AI companies, right? And that's the majority of what the Dow is succeeding on. And now in the reddest state in the country, Florida, arguably the reddest area, they don't even want them. They don't even want the data centers.
Yeah.
What business model is this?
This is the upside down. Welcome.
This is crazy.
Yeah, it's a bubble. It's probably a bubble because how many do you need? How big and there's got to be a lot of duplication and I don't know. And then pretty soon the technology is going to be they're going to improve the chips so you don't need as many as you did before. So it's going to compact. Good to hold it
right on the. You're nailing something, Matthew, because they're talking about like this quantum computing, right? And with quantum computing, you don't even need like these powerful computers, from my understanding, right? That it's all done. It's not with ones and zeros. It's done some different way. So if they're working on that, maybe we don't even need these massive warehouses.
Yeah, maybe obsolete in 10 years. But they've already destroyed the land.
Yeah, and then we're supposed to be okay with them taking our resources, our water, us paying more property tax because of this, and they're taking our jobs.
It's bananas. That's what he said the communities want it for, because all the jobs it's going to bring. I'm like, bro, we know.
Okay. It'll take away more than it provides. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's just another example of a billionaire pretending that they create jobs. And that has been a lie from day one. They don't create jobs. They destroy companies and then they rehire you at a lower rate. That's what billionaires do.
Yeah.
That's what they do. They buy companies and then they rehire you at a lower rate. Period. And now with AI, they're going to buy the AI facility and they're just going to get rid of you. Right? Like, it's just
that brings up the whole question of affordability and the what they call the K status of our economy, where the rich are just like zooming up and the poor are just zooming down. All that wealth, all the power is accumulated in a very small portion of the population. And the rest of us are getting screwed. There isn't the sharing of the wealth and the middle class environment that we've seen before.
There will be no middle class.
Right.
For sure.
Well, I mean, if we put right people in charge, I mean, these Republicans, I'm telling you, they're clueless. These people, we have like I'm running against Eddie Spear here, and he's supposedly against these data centers, but he's as MAGA as it gets, And my question is, where are you picking up all this economy if you're against the data centers? Because you guys put all your chips into the data centers. Like where are you picking the economy up at? And they have no answer for that. They have no answer for how people are going to afford things, how people are going to get health insurance when they lose their job because of AI. All they're saying is people don't like AI, so I'm going to get on the bandwagon and be against it. I'm telling you, you put a Republican back in office, you will have a data center in your backyard 100%.
Yeah, yeah. How do you get people off the Kool-Aid? I mean, it's just like there's a certain segment that's benefiting from it, and these politicians, but there's so many people who are just, I gotta, it's like a religion, I gotta vote Republican, no matter how I'm getting screwed, they're convinced to just check off the R. You go to public meetings and local people are complaining about their representatives in the legislature, taking away local rights and putting in all these policies that are insane. And you say, well, why are they getting voted for? And they say, well, they got an R next to their name.
Right.
But I'm not. I've never been a political person ever.
Mm-hmm.
I've never. I mean, I'm forced by my moral compass and my empathy to pay attention. And it's just seeing, if you ask me what, Republicans do versus Democrats, I'm just not political.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was surprised to find out that Florida is 40% Republican, 30% Democrats, and then 30% independents, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't see the independents being like, we're going to roll with red. Like that is not that there's no way that's going to happen. So that is super helpful. Makes me have hope in my heart.
Yeah.
Well, I think the war really did damage to the Republican Party with independents. I don't think there are many independents out there that are pro-war, and it's interesting to see so many Republican candidates, specifically in my district, that are for the Iran war when it is such a negative topic. Like I think it was something that even 60% of the MAGA base is against the war. So just being pro Iran war right now, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, is a very outside place to be.
Yeah, I agree with that. And part of the activism that I do in Clearwater, because it's funny that you say that. I'm trying to remember. It was probably about 2 months ago or so, but one of our Operation Overpass, we're part of Visibility Brigade, and we, have a message over the bridge on US 19 in Clearwater.
So hold on. So this is a big deal because I see these posts all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like Instagram and Facebook. So you're the ones that put those big pieces of paper or whatever they are on the
Yeah. So we had a guy excuse me. We had a guy, pull over. I'm like, oh, here we go. We were just getting started. We had a table set up. I don't remember if may have been The Last No Kings. And he pulls up. He gets out of the car. I'm like, here we go. Because he don't look like he's coming to hang out. He looks like he has a problem. And he said, listen, whose side are you guys on? We didn't have our letters set up yet. And I told him what the message was. I don't remember what the message was, but he said, I voted for him 2 times. I will not ever be voting for him again.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
like, well, that's good because he can't run again. But, he was hardcore and he stopped because of the war in Iran.
Yeah.
That's the reason why. So I agree with that.
That could shift a lot of MAGA because they were against all these forever wars. And this is
that was part of what he ran on.
Yeah.
That and the files, releasing the files and no war. It's not where we are.
It's absolutely insane. It's a whim. It's a whim, that he wanted a war. He thought, oh, I'll go in. Everybody told him, these people who don't know anything about war, and Trump doesn't know anything about war because he's a draft dodger, but going to Hegseth and saying, oh, yeah, we can just go in and mop it up a little bit. We'll just kill the leaders and then everybody will be free type thing. These people don't know anything about the world. And he's taking advice from a lot of incompetent, stupid.
He was on the Fox. He was a Fox host, right? A drunk Fox host. Like, Lord have mercy.
And now we're going to be spending tens of billions of dollars just to satisfy his effing ego.
Yeah. There it is. There it is. You got it. All right. We're going to roll with it. All right. So I want to talk about something else as well. And this has been kind of interesting. And I know, Matthew, your campaign's getting you're in the primary, right? So you have a Democrat competitor. And we'll get into that a little bit.
Who's Democratic?
Who's the incumbent right now in your area, Matt?
Greg Stubbe.
Yep. But we and I want to talk about you and Alan specifically, okay? And I want to get into that. But I was at an event and Alan was there as well, and I had texted you and said, hey, he's here. But nothing to do with him. But like my own party's drama, like I'm running as an independent, and then I have a bunch of Democrats coming up to me telling me everybody else is lying in the Democrat Party. Like they're lying about this. They're lying about that. They slept with them. They did this. I
heard something like that because I met Mark over at Ruth Eckerd Hall for the first time just a couple weeks ago over where they had that forum. But somebody shared something with me like that, and he is running for office. And I'm like, oh my, that's a lot. Like, why are you telling me that? Like, what?
Yeah, it's weird, and it just reminded me like the drama that I'm not part of, but then they just like dragged me into this drama, and it was really hard because I'm not even a Democrat, and why wouldn't they think that I'm going to tell everybody what they just told me, right? Like, so I went back and I just like, okay, so and so said this and this and this, and they think they're lying, and that and I'm just sitting here in the middle, like, how about you guys just go lie to each other and let me run my race, right? And it was just interesting. So, but I did run into Alan. He had like Cheetos all over his table. I don't know what that was for. It was interesting, but anyway, I want you to give you a little bit of platform here, Matthew. My opinion, I have my own opinion on Alan Spence and you, and I really do think that you're a great candidate. I think you're a great person. We've had really good conversations, like really emotional conversations. And I think that's more what the world needs right now is more empathy and more love and more caring for our neighbors. And I see that in you. But anyway, why don't you just here's your platform. Why Matthew over Alan?
Well, you need experience, and you need to show people that you're committed to something, and that's as you've said. I've been in local government. I know what government is about. I know what the local, state, and federal responsibilities are. I've been tied into a lot of issues because I worked in government and did with the research center in Washington D.C. So I know how it works. I worked in also budget and finance, so I know the numbers game as well. And And that would be very helpful in especially with the mess our government is financially at the moment. And I also worked internationally, and we have to appreciate what that means in terms of appreciating the need for our working with our allies, working with our friends, even sometimes working with our enemies. You know, you need this international cooperation. So much, it's an interconnected world. We have one world and we're all on it, and we got to work together. And there's a lot of beautiful things being done and tried to do through the UN and other international organizations. And our USAID program was a real plum in our history. You know, that effort to try to help people and help the development. And there was some, you know, help. It meant something for our country just to have those benefits, have those connections. And people appreciated us. And you're also developing the world. You're fighting hunger. You're fighting poverty. You're making a difference. And then in terms of I've been in the community. Every time I've been someplace, I get into it and try to help as much as possible. You know, I moved into a black neighborhood in Washington D.C. and joined the community neighborhood association, and so we have started having a neighborhood fair, and try to build camaraderie and friendship and support for the neighborhood. And then I've been a Democrat my whole life, so I've always done things for supporting the Democratic Party, donating and had several offices in the Democratic Party. So I'm a guy who cares about the community. I'm a guy who has the knowledge. I'm the guy who has the international experience, which is also very valuable in Congress, so we don't go to war for a stupid reason. And I've been a Democrat. So, these are things my opponent doesn't have at all. He voted for Trump twice, and he doesn't. All right.
Well, there you go. That's what we need. That's your one-liner, Matt. We just shortened it for you.
Mic drop.
But he hasn't been, he hasn't done, he's what they call an executioner, he executes stock trades. And that's his backroom activity for his whole life, basically. He's never been involved in any community stuff except Boy Scouts. I'll give him that. I did that too. And he hasn't been involved in politically at all. So it's like you'll come out of nowhere. He could have run as a Republican. He could have run as an independent. But at the last minute, he joins the Democratic Party and runs for Congress to represent the party. And I was like, well, wait a minute, this does not fit. This is time. And so when I met him, if there were people want a younger guy, and I'm getting up there in age, but I'm still healthy and active. But if a younger person of quality had run, I would have said, okay, take it. I don't need it.
I like that.
But then I looked at this situation. I said, this is not running a Democrat. So that's why I'm running, and I believe I've got the experience, the qualities, and the determination to make things work. All my experiences in so many different places, Peace Corps, everything else. I know how things work. I know people from around the world. I could negotiate. I'm diplomatic. I'll get into Congress. I'll start working with people, all kinds of people. I've worked with all kinds of people around the world. I can work with all kinds of people in Congress. So I'll try to make a difference. I think I can be successful. I can get on the ground, start running.
Love it.
And that's the best place to come from, right? Like you're coming from, I've just met you and speaking with you now, but your past leading up to this moment, you weren't doing things to be a poster boy for this moment. You were doing things out of your path and your heart and your authentic self. That's where the magic happens, right? That's what happens. Like my husband and I, we've been doing real estate now for 7 years, and most of our business comes from our sphere, the people that know, like, and trust us, and I didn't have to pretend I cared about people before to be like, hey, look, guys, I can help you buy a house or sell a house. Like, we are into good relationships.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's not, you can't fake that.
Yep.
So good for you, Matt. If I was in your district, I think that's your tagline now. He voted for Trump twice. That's all.
Well, that's a lot of people. Yeah. Thank you, Nicole. That was very.
Sure.
Thank you for those statements.
But at the same time, like, we need people that voted for Trump. We need them in our party, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Fair.
But he, let me just. So I met him, and in my opinion, he is not a very nice guy, and he's not very likable. And we need nice people right now. And he made a video. He actually, when I bumped into him the other day, he actually asked me to endorse him. He's like, "What's it going to take for you to endorse me?" And I was like, "Well, that ain't going to happen." But
try again. Oh Lord.
So, but he made a video a while back, and he posted it on Facebook or whatever, and like a selfie video, and he was like yelling at the camera, and he was talking about, like, people are saying that I'm not a Democrat, but I am the definition of the blue wave or something like that. And he was like being vitriol about it, and it was like, what are you doing, dude? Like, why? No, you're not the blue wave is people that didn't get up and vote, that are realizing now how important their vote is. You're right. Republicans didn't win that last election, because they were popular. They won because people were confused and people didn't get out and vote. The blue wave is inevitable. That party has pissed off so many people that by the time November comes around, I'll be surprised if they get 20% of the vote. So I don't know. It was just very offsetting for somebody like myself, probably somebody like Matthew and Nicole, that have been like anti-Trump from day one. And and for him to take credit for this blue wave was just not, it just didn't rub me right.
Yeah. Well,
So.
yeah, the gall of him, to say, I'm completely reformed and trust me, but every time, okay, I'm not gonna get into his personality, but you got to have shown something in your life that means that you believe in these issues. I've been working with the Latino population, my whole life. I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Central America. I worked with the United Farm Workers. I marched with the farm workers from Pahokee to Palm Beach, 50 miles. I helped to start the Immigration Justice Coalition. I can't, I could talk about immigration from my heart because I've been there working with these people, and then so he could adopt it. Oh, yes, I'm for this or that, but there's no record to say, yes, he was for this. So it's a little,
oh God, politics is so whack. Like, it's crazy. Like, it really is.
And he's getting some people, to say, oh, they're pretending to be the leaders in the Democratic Party, saying, oh yeah, this guy's really good. He's progressive. What the F? Where do you come from, a Trump voter to progressive in a few years? It doesn't fit. And if maybe he did, but it's not time to run for Congress to say, yeah, but show your progressiveness. Show where you're committed to the community first, and then we'll believe you.
How can you be a progressive leader if you just learned how to be a progressive? Like, it's
yeah,
right.
In District 17, Matt, only because we've been redistricted here, and like our current Anna Paulina Luna, her office isn't even in her district anymore. Like, anyway, so you are Sarasota to Fort Myers, is that?
Yeah. I lost a chunk of Sarasota. It's now gone to 16 where Mark's running. So half the east side of pretty much east side of I-75 is now gone to District 16. So I lost a big chunk of Sarasota. And then they took away part of Lee County, and then they gave me most of Fort Myers. So, I got a whole new area to try to get into within a few weeks and introduce myself. It's just so insane and so corrupt and so disruptive. And people writing to me saying, well, I thought I was in your district, but now I'm someplace else. And, it's just so confusing for voters and so evil to be throwing this thing out.
This is what it's meant to do. It's their perfect plan.
Yeah.
So Stube has been in office since 2019. That's what it shows. And then, Mark, who's the incumbent now there?
Bernie Cannon, but he's retiring. So the seat's open in our district. Yeah. And we got a lot of people running too. We got like 6 or 7 Democrats running and like 3 Republicans. And one of them, one of the Republicans that is running is Sydney, and she's that one that, she's the one that you guys got the video of saying that she tried to try to pray away the Epstein files or something.
Oh my God!
Pray Trump out of the Epstein files. Yeah, that was funny. But anyway, good conversation. I need to go talk to my family because I haven't seen them all day. I've been on the road all day. So I'm loving it. I'm loving the campaign. We're having a ton of fun. Matthew, I'm excited about your campaign and where you're headed. I look forward to working with you in Washington, and I can't wait until you win and we're gonna have this actual blue wave, a real blue wave. So, and Nicole, thank you for coming on.
Thank you. It was great to join and chat. And, if anybody needs help, we're Q the experts in Pinellas County, and we service the Tampa Bay area. So people can Google us. We got a lot of 5-star reviews because we come from the heart.
Right.
So thank you.
Cool. Nice to meet you, Nicole. It was
same here. I'm going to push your stuff. I'm going to start following you, and I'm going to just help how I can. You're on Facebook.
Thank you.
Sure thing.
Yes, he's on Facebook. Are you on Instagram too, or just Facebook?
I'm on both. Yeah.
Both. All right, cool.
TikTok and
cool.
Blue Sky, not as much, but there too. Try to cover everything.
All right, and then if you want to just Matthew, just kind of tell people where to go to donate, and we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, please go to montavonforcongress.com and check out my website, and you can donate there. There's a couple of donate buttons, either Act Blue or to Numero, or you could, you'll find an address there if you want to send in a check. That's another option. And I really appreciate your support because elections are running fast, and a little bit of financial help would be a great thing for me.
Yep. So to my followers, this is who I support in District 17. This is a very important race. They're in the primary. Again, I'm not doing a primary. I go straight to the general. But he needs a vote in August. So if you're in the Sarasota area or District 17, be sure to check out Matthew's website. Check him out. He is a good dude. So check him out, follow him, share his stuff, and throw him some money. All right. Thank you guys for being on, and thank you everybody for listening to Dad Bods and Bad Attitudes.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you everyone.